Barcelona have made 2 wins out of 2 to begin their preseason tour of Asia thanks to a dominant 7-3 victory over FC Seoul at the Seoul World Cup Stadium in South Korea on Thursday. Hansi Flick used 24 players across the 90 minutes and saw his team deliver strong performances in both halves, with Lamine Yamal the star of the show in the first period and plenty of impressive displays by reserves and youngsters in the final frame to give the Catalans a fun, high-scoring win. First half, Flick picked another very strong lineup for the second game in a row, and Barca were dominant from the start. The passing and spacing were excellent, the movement with and without the ball was on point. And the Blaugrana found it very easy to create chances early on. Robert Lewandowski scored a very easy tap-in after a shot from Lamine Yamal hit the post and came back to the pole, and Yamal himself got in the action with a gorgeous strike from outside the box. Barca had a 2-goal lead after just 15 minutes, and were by far the better team from the get-go. They found it so easy, in fact, that they took their foot off the gas and allowed Seoul to have some joy on the ball, and the hosts began to find spaces in behind Barca's high line. The Catalans' offside trap worked well, but they still allowed the hosts to score as Yamal lost the ball at the edge of his own box and a quick cross found, a clearly offside, who fired it home off the bar. Both teams began suffering from the hot and humid conditions towards the end of the period and the pace of play dropped dramatically, but there was still time for quite a bit of drama and entertainment just before halftime. It all began with a fantastic solo run by Rafinha down the left wing and a pass by the Brazilian that should have become an assist for Dani Olmo, but the Spaniard dragged his shot just wide and missed a big chance. Immediately after that, Seoul centre-back Alera ventured forward and fired a nice shot with his left foot into the net to score the equalizer and shock the entire crowd, but Olmo redeemed himself shortly after with a beautiful through ball to find Yamal, whose last contribution of the night was a disgusting dribble move that literally sent his defender flying before Lamine took another touch and fired a beauty into the far corner. It was an amazing goal to end an amazing 2-minute sequence, and it was a fitting end to a fun first half in Seoul. Second half, Flick changed his entire 11 to begin the second half, going with pretty much the same team of reserves and youngsters that played well together the second half against Vissel Kobe. And that group started well again in this one, with Marcus Rashford direct and dangerous again, Gavi looking more like himself, and Andreas Christensen scoring a sensational goal with a rocket from 30 yards to restore Barca's 2-goal lead. Joffre Torrens was impressive once again at left-back, making solid runs and delivering excellent passes, and one of those passes turned into an assist for Ferran Torres, who showed excellent composure inside the box to sit down his defender and find the net to triple Barca's advantage with 15 minutes to go. 2 minutes after that, Gavi scored an absolutely filthy goal with a brilliant spin and finish inside the box, and the Catalans turned the win into a rout. Flick gave 2 more players a run in the final 15 minutes as Gil and Tony Fernandez came on for Gavi and Rooney Bargi, and the 2 cousins were active and had some good moments on the ball in their limited time on the pitch. Seoul did very little to bother the Barca defense in the second half but still managed to give the crowd something to cheer with 5 minutes to go when Young got behind the defense on the counter and scored a nice goal to get the hosts on the board for a third time on the night. Barca were not done, however, and Rashford got his first assist as a Blaugrana with a nice through ball in between 2 defenders to find Ferran, who passed the ball into the bottom corner to score Barca's 7th of the night. The final whistle came to end a highly entertaining evening in Seoul, with Barca dominating both halves despite a couple of defensive lapses that are normal in a non-competitive preseason environment. But there were plenty of positive signs in both periods, and the reserves and youngsters in the second half showed once again that there's plenty of depth on this team ahead of a long, hard season. Barca will face Daegu FC on Monday to finish their Asia tour, looking for a 3rd straight win and yet another strong showing. Well done, boys.